You'll need lengths of locking angle, locking pocket mains, QuikStix short span tees, and uptight clips to complete your QuikStix ceiling. To calculate the number of pieces of locking angle you will require for your project, measure the ceiling perimeter footage, divide by 12, and round up to the next full piece. To confirm your parts requirements, go to www.armstrong.com/QuikStix and insert your dimensions into the Materials Estimator template. Also, consult the Materials Estimator to determine the number of locking pocket mains and tees you will need. To determine how many uptight clips you will need, multiply the number of locking pocket mains by 3. You'll need a drill driver, aviation snips, chalk line, ruler, pencil or marker, hammer, plumb bob, level, tape measure, spring clamps, and screws to complete your installation. Remember, safety is the highest priority when working on a do-it-yourself project. Quality work gloves and safety glasses are a must during this installation. And before you get started, check local building codes for direction on proper installation and permit requirements. And read installation instructions carefully, every step of the way. When determining your ceiling height, take into account any plumbing, electrical, or other common basement obstacles that may impact your design. Using screws, secure a length of locking angle to the framing of a wall that is perpendicular to the joists at the desired height of the drywall ceiling, making sure the locking angle is level and that a locking detail is centered 48 inches from a corner. To do this, cut the angle at the mark in the center of the locking detail and butt it against the adjacent wall. To add lengths of locking angle along the wall, butt factory ends of locking angle together and secure to the wall framing. When the locking angle is installed along the first wall, drop a plumb bob to the floor from the mark in the center of the locking detail 48 inches from the corner. Put a mark on the floor at this point. Call it point A. From this mark, measure 36 inches to each side and make 2 more marks. Mark both point B. From one point B, measure 6 feet toward the center of the room and draw an arc. From the other point B, measure 6 feet toward the center of the room and draw an arc that intersects with the first arc. Mark the intersection point C. Snap a chalk line on the floor through points A and C from wall to wall. This line is 90 degrees to the first wall. Plumb up from the far end of the chalk line and mark the wall at the height of the locking angle on the opposite wall. Measure from this mark to the nearest corner and cut the locking angle so a center mark on the locking detail lines up with a mark on the wall. Now, install locking angle along this wall, ensuring it is level. Now, on the chalk line on the floor, measure a point 6 feet from the wall and mark it D. From point D, measure back toward the wall 4 feet, and 4 feet away from the wall, label the points E. From both E points, measure 5 feet back toward point D. Scribe 2 intersecting arcs. Label the intersecting points F. Snap a chalk line on the floor through points F from wall to wall. This line is 90 degrees to the first line, and is the location of the first row of locking pocket mains. On the walls running parallel to the joists, install locking angle so a locking pocket is centered on the line FF. You are now ready to install double locking pocket mains to the ceiling, running the opposite direction of the ceiling joists. The first main is located 6 feet from the sidewall. Then you'll continue to install the mains every 6 feet. Stretch a string line across the room parallel to the joists located at the center of a locking detail on one side of the room to the corresponding locking detail on the opposite side of the room. Measure from the string line back to the end wall at the location of the first row of main beams. Cut a locking pocket main, locating the center of a locking detail this dimension from the cut end. Stretch a second string line across the room perpendicular to the floor joist at the location of the first row of locking pocket mains. Above this string, attach QuikStix uptight clips to the joists every 4 feet, with the first clip no more than 4 feet from the end wall. With the cut end of the main and the locking detail at one end of the room, and the bottom of the main beam level with the molding, screw the uptight clip to the locking pocket main with 2 framing screws. Butt additional lengths of locking pocket mains end to end to reach the other end of the room. Always use factory ends to butt components together. Use scrap pieces of locking angle fastened with framing screws to splice the locking pocket mains together. Install additional rolls of locking pocket mains every 6 feet across the room as required following this process. Remember, cut ends of the locking pocket mains must be within 1/8 inch of the vertical leg of the locking angle at the wall. Begin installing QuikStix short span tees into locking details in the locking angle and the first row of locking pocket mains. Set the flange of the tee into the large side of the locking detail first, then bump the tee to the other side to lock the flange into the smaller side of the detail. Make sure there is a row of tees centered 4 feet from the end wall. Tees are typically installed every 16 inches when you are using 1/2-inch drywall. Locking details are located every 8 inches along the length of the locking pocket main and locking angle, so tees are installed in every other locking location. Complete the ceiling grid by installing the balance of the short span tees. Like the main beams, cut ends of the tees need to be within 1/8 inch of the vertical leg of the angle at the wall. If additional tees are required where there are no locking details, cut the tee to length and screw into place. Add lighting and electrical wiring overhead before installing the drywall to give your room the finished look you desire. Fastener specifications and spacing should follow the drywall manufacturer's recommendations. Take time to carefully plan for your remodeling project for best results.